UPTV Burundi.
UPTV Burundi
News.
News.
The meeting emphasized the need for stronger coordination and respect for the sovereignty of member states. Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni said the meeting was a vital step towards deeper regional cooperation in resolving conflicts. He called for unity and sustained political will to fully implement the peace, security, and cooperation framework.
We know what the problem is, and it can be solved. But we must have the political will. And the foreigners should limit their involvement, because the foreigners are the ones who carelessly embolden the mistake makers. Then the mistake makers think that we don't care about these internal groups, we don't care about the region. What is important is the external support.
The meeting comes amid a worsening security and humanitarian crisis in eastern DRC. The Rwandan-backed M23 movement has seized swaths of territory despite calls for withdrawal. Leaders noted the need to strengthen efforts in conflict prevention and reconciliation. Regional leaders have issued a stark warning. The escalating security situation in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo is a growing threat to regional stability. They urge urgent international intervention and an immediate ceasefire. The call is clear: warring factions must cease fire and resolve their differences through dialogue.
The ICGLR therefore calls upon the M23 to immediately and unconditionally stop its offensive and refrain from creating parallel state institutions in the Eastern DRC.
Several attempts by regional blocs have not yielded much. The previous summit was held in Burundi in May 2023, where leaders assessed progress in implementing the peace process. Leaders now reaffirm their commitment to restoring peace and stability as part of efforts to silence the guns in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. Isabel Nakiria, CGTN, Entebbe, Uganda.
Well, joining us more on that is international relations, diplomacy and security analyst Dr. Edgar Githua to discuss the situation further. He joins us live from Nairobi. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Githua. Well, leaders from across Africa backed this new peace plan for the DRC at the Wednesday meeting in Uganda. How different, Doctor, is this plan from the previous ones reached in other diplomatic initiatives? And do African nations have the necessary material to support and to implement the plan?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I think this time around it's going to be a game changer because, number one, the leaders seem to be speaking in one voice, and the meeting comes on the backdrop of the Qatar-led peace talks that made the DRC government and the Rwandan government agree to have a ceasefire and agree to begin meaningful dialogue. It's also coming on the backdrop of the fact that the DRC government has finally agreed to talk to the M23 rebels. So this time around, with all these guarantors in place, definitely it's going to be a game changer. I think this is a step in the right direction, but of course, like we all say, we need the political will to, do the heavy lifting and actually make these tough decisions to make peace work in the eastern parts of DRC.
So, Dr. Githua, there are calls for a collective commitment from regional member states. However, the DRC faces both a domestic and we also know that there's this externally driven crisis. How can these differences be bridged?
Well, the difference is the first thing the DRC government needs to do is to, number one, now that it has agreed to recognize that M23 is a faction it needs to talk to, is to actually have meaningful and honest dialogue with them to find out what the internal issues are. So from the internal perspective of your question is, the DRC government needs to engage the M23 to see how to de-escalate and address whatever issues M23 claim exist. From the external perspective, we welcome international peace partners like Qatar, the United States of America, who have now tried to put in their hand to try and stop this. So hoping that they are going to push this peace process in the right direction, we need external partners. And of course, remember, peace processes are expensive, so we need external financing as well. So if Qatar and the United States of America can agree to guarantee the peace in terms of being the bigger brothers in this process and to bring in financing, then we could hopefully realize peace once and for all, in the eastern parts of DRC.
So Rwanda is among 12 countries which have condemned the M23 for setting up parallel administrations in eastern DRC. How can Kigali support future peace engagements in the DRC without interference?
So number one, Rwanda needs to be very honest in its commitment to peace in the eastern parts of DRC, because remember, Rwanda's excuse has always been that there are incursions, that it feels its security is threatened by the presence of the FDLR rebels, who are the former Hutu militia who caused the Rwandan genocide massacre. So Rwanda needs to give DRC a chance to actually eradicate these militia groups. So I think Rwanda needs to give the DRC and M23 a chance to work out their own internal differences, and then also secure its borders without violating the territorial integrity and sovereignty of DRC. So Rwanda needs to give DRC and M23 a chance to work out their peace, to have dialogue and to see if they can come to an agreement on what needs to be done. So Rwanda needs to just give them a chance, keep out of the theater of conflict, and also secure its borders without giving any aid or any support to M23 or any other faction inside DRC. That is the commitment that Rwanda needs to make, and hopefully we are going to realize and get peace in the eastern parts of DRC.